Hi, it's Paula here. Welcome to another video where I encourage people to paint no matter what. In today's video, I'm reviewing the Arteza 100% cotton paper. I'll talk a little bit about the specifications, prices, and also I'll do some tests to see how it performs. So let's get started. I got my package from Amazon, but this paper is also available on Arteza's website. I'll leave the links in the description box. This video is not sponsored by Arteza, by the way, it's just my honest opinion about it. This is the Arteza watercolor pad, 100% cotton paper, cold pressed, double-sided, acid-free, and glue-bounded. It says that it's ideal for watercolor techniques and mixed media. It contains 14 sheets, 9 by 12, and the paper is 300 grams per square meter. On the right bottom corner, you can find the guarantee seal. On the back, you can find Arteza's information and QR codes for tips and discounts. About the paper, this is the information you can find on Arteza's website. It claims that the paper is heavyweight, easy to display, fade resistant, and the pad opens flat. Since the paper is cold pressed, it has a nice texture. I couldn't find any texture pattern, which is great. It keeps the texture even after a few watercolor layers. Arteza is selling this watercolor pad on its website for $18.99 US, which means $1.35 per sheet. One thing that I've noticed is that the paper is bending, as you can see here. Even after I peeled a page out of the pad, it's still keeping this curvy shape, which is kinda strange. Let me know in the comments if you have ever tried this paper and if it came like this. So I decided to do a test with the peeled page. I soak it in clean water and I put it under a heavy paper pack. I left it to dry all night long. I will show you the results later in this video. Since the paper is bending so badly, it's impossible to paint over it without taping it to the table. By the way, I'm using a page straight from the pad, so we can see how the paper reacts. I will be testing some very usual watercolor techniques like wash, wet on wet, wet on dry, lifting, layering, and I'll do some small painting for the last one. For this test, I'm using my Nevskaya Palitra White Nights watercolor palette. Since they are professional grade watercolors, I know that I can expect good results using those, at least relating to the paint itself. I'm doing these tests the best way I can, trying to vary the colors to get the best of the paper. How is this video going so far? If you like it, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. It helps me to keep doing new videos for you guys. Also, don't forget to follow me on my Instagram Watercolor by Paula so you can see much more about my daily paintings and new art supplies. To test the wet on dry technique, I'll have to wait for the paint to dry, so I'll come back to the sample later. For the lifting technique, it's not showing very well on the yellow, but I believe that's my fault because my brush was wetter than it should be. Now I can get back to the wet on dry sample since it's already dry. I'm using another blue because I consider it one of the most difficult colors to work with. You can see now how it's turning out. We still have 2 more samples to go, so sit back and relax watching how this paper is performing so far. Here I'm painting some leaves and little flowers, and I'm going to layer some darker color all over them to see how it works. And now I'm painting the final sample, trying to use all the techniques that I've used before. This is how the wash turned out. I think it performed okay, especially using a bright color like this. The wet on wet worked pretty well, creating the spots, but it didn't do very well on the base colors. I can see clearly that the base colors didn't bleed into each other very well. It is happening because the paper dries fast, so it's not enough wet to bleed even after just a few seconds. Here is the wet on dry and lifting that I believed worked pretty well, just a little hard to lift. And here are the 2 samples that worked pretty well. Finally, you can see an overview of all the samples, but keep in mind that the paper is still taped on the table. After I untaped the paper, I can show you that it's still bending and warping. Do you remember that paper that I left drying all night long? I will show you what happened with it. I painted some flowers on it to see the final results, but I believe that it performed much better than the other sheet straight from the pad. This paper is acceptable. It's normal having a little bit of warping even on 100% cotton paper. And that's it for this video. I hope it brings you valuable information about a less expensive 100% watercolor paper, and it helps you to decide whether or not you are gonna buy it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. There is a lot of great content coming next. Also follow me on my Instagram, Watercolor by Paula, and check the affiliate links in the description box to buy great art supplies. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!